Welcome to today's show, Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, passionate, inspirational speaker, author, poet, and entrepreneur. Welcome to Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count.
I'm delighted that you joined me today. Hey, I want to give a great big shout out and thank you to all of you listening today all around the world. I'm delighted and so grateful that you joined me. I want to let you know that I've made a few changes to my podcast. The first change is that I want you to know a little bit more about me and why you can now find my podcasts under the heading of management on Spreaker.com. That's right. So, this isn't news to my regular listeners, but if you're just finding me and tuning in for the very first time, I want you to know that I am a leader and an entrepreneur. In fact, I have founded or co-founded not one, not two, but three successful businesses. Woohoo! In fact, I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. Before that, I worked in corporate America. I also worked in higher education as an administrator and as a professor. In fact, I still do a little professing every now and then. I'm also a founding partner with the John Maxwell team, and I'm also one of their faculty members. So, if you need a dynamic speaker to open or close an event, or if you need a caring and experienced coach, or perhaps you need a trusted advisor, a thought partner to work with you on your strategic plan or your vision for your organization, I am here to help you. So drop me a note and let's talk about how I can serve you and add value to you and your team. You can connect with me via email at info at gloriaburgess.com. That's info at gloriaburgess.com. Or you can connect with me via LinkedIn or Facebook. Now, for LinkedIn, you just look me up. I'm Dr. Gloria J. Burgess. And later on in this podcast, I'll tell you how to find me easily on Facebook. All right? Okay. Again, I'm delighted and so grateful that you joined me today. I sure hope you're enjoying a fabulous day and that you're having a fantastic week. Because you know what? In the grand song of the universe, life is very short. It's short and sweet and oh so precious. So, I hope you're making a difference in your own life because you know what? When you do, you also make a difference in someone else's life. Now, a lot of folks really want to make their life count for something, but they don't know how, or it just seems so big and overwhelming, they just don't know how or where to begin. So they ask me, Dr. Gloria, how do you do that? How do you make your life count? Well, let me tell you, it's very simple. Very, very simple. You make your life count day by day, step by step, smile by smile, every single day, 365, 24/7. You make your life count by being there for someone who needs you, by being an uplifter or an encourager, right? You make your life count by reaching out to someone on your team or someone in your organization or in your community. Now, if you're at home, you can reach out to a neighbor, or even closer to home, you can call your mom or your dad, right? Or call your sister or brother and simply tell them, I love you. Now, you can also turn off your social media for a while and use that time to write someone a thoughtful note or card. I know I just love getting handwritten notes. There's such a wonderful sight in the midst of that stack of bills, right? Or you know what? Send somebody you care about a beautiful photo or a link to a beautiful song. If you're like me, you can go onto your deck or into your yard and pick a handful of flowers or herbs. And you know what? You write a note or pick a bunch of flowers, not because it's a special occasion like a birthday or anniversary. You smile, you hold someone's hand, You write that special card or note. You give someone that bunch of beautiful flowers just because. Those just because moments are the ones I love the most. Can I just tell you something? Those simple, loving acts of kindness and generosity make a huge difference in my life. You can make a difference too. You can make a difference simply by being thankful for who you are, being thankful for whose you are, and by being thankful that when you know whose you are, you can lead. You can lead with steadiness, you can lead with confidence, you can lead with mastery through any situation. Now, let me just stop right here for a moment. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I'm not a leader. Is she talking to me? Maybe you're a doctor or nurse or teacher, or maybe you're an entrepreneur like me, or a student in college and you have no idea of what you want to be or do after you graduate. Well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter what you do in your professional life, and it doesn't matter what life stage you're in, you are a leader. Now, how can I say that with such assurance? Here's how. If you are alive and participating in this great adventure we call life, then you are a leader. Maybe you're the only person that you're leading. Somebody has to be in charge, though, right? And that's you. You are in charge of yourself, right? So you can make a difference in your own life, and you can also make a difference in someone else's life. When you know how to lead yourself, you can transfer that knowledge. You can transfer those skills, those competencies, so that you can lead well in any circumstances. Now, today, we're going to talk about how to do just that. We're going to talk about leading through the storm. Because if you can do that, if you can confidently and courageously lead through the storm, then you will be equipped to lead yourself and others in any other situation that comes up in your life. Now remember, how you live is how you lead, right? So, what you're going to hear about today, you can actually apply it in your daily life as well. What I'm going to share with you today is a wonderful example of what legacy living, make your life count, is all about. Now, before I delve into today's podcast, let me remind you, you can learn more about legacy living, make your life count, by visiting the Gloria Burgess website. That's Gloria, B as in boy, URGESS.com. The Gloria Burgess website. Again, it's Gloria, B as in boy, URGESS.com, or by visiting Facebook. And that's facebook.com/ Dr. Gloria Burgess, PhD /. Okay, so doctor is DR, Gloria Burgess, PhD /. Now, more about leading through the storm. When you find yourself knee deep in the middle of difficulty, immersed in the middle of adversity, smack dab in the middle of a crisis, in the center of a storm, there are many, many things that come to mind, right? Many ways that we can respond. And when you think about it, they all boil down to these four responses. You can fight, you can take flight, you can freeze, or you can collaborate. Let's take a look at what these phases, okay, these responses mean. You can fight. In other words, you can try to beat it down, stare it down, or wrestle down that difficulty or that struggle or whatever storm you're in the midst of. You can just, kind of punch it and beat it and try to work it to the ground, right? So that's what fight is all about. Now, another response is taking flight. You can try to fly away, get the heck out of Dodge, so to speak. But you know what? Sooner or later, you're still going to have to face whatever the crisis is. You're going to have to face the music, so to speak, right? Another response is freezing, right? You can freeze. In this case, you get so caught up in your circumstances, in whatever situation you're in, you just kind of get numbed out. Or you become paralyzed, so you can't think or act or do anything. Now, I recall a time when I was traveling all by myself, traveling solo. In fact, I was in the middle of a sabbatical and I had accumulated enough frequent flyer miles that I could travel around the world for free. Imagine that. Pretty amazing, right? Now, I love the ocean. So I planned my itinerary so I could visit locations where I could stay close to the water. For part of the trip, I was in the United Kingdom. Now, I just love the country of Wales. So here I was, staying in this lovely little place in a small village in Wales for about a week or so. And my apartment was on a hillside that overlooked the Welsh Sea. Well, during my stay, I experienced one of the worst storms I'd ever experienced in my entire life. Now, this wasn't just one of those circumstances or situations, this was a literal storm. In fact, I was right in the center of one of those 100-year storms. I'd gone to bed and I was awakened by what I thought was someone pounding very loudly on my door. But then I realized that what sounded like someone hammering on my door was actually the sound from the wind howling outside, rattling the windows, making the floorboards and the wallboards just creak and groan. When I looked out of the window, it was pitch black. I mean, this was a small little village with no street lamps, right? So I turned on the radio to get a news report about the storm. I could only get one station that came in clearly, and I listened hard. Even though the reception was quite clear on the radio, I realized that I could barely understand what they were saying. I could only recognize maybe every fifth or sixth word. And then I realized they were speaking in another language. They were speaking Gaelic, not English. Now, since Gaelic has a number of words that are very close to German, which I knew, I was able to piece together a little bit of what I was hearing. And what I heard was this was a ferocious storm with winds up to 100 miles an hour. Now, meanwhile, as I was trying to get a read on the storm, the wind was gaining steam, gaining force. In fact, the sounds that woke me up seemed to be much, much louder than before. The floorboards were not only groaning, they seemed to be moving and rumbling beneath my feet. Ugh, right? I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'll never see my family again. And the pounding at the door seemed to be more like a bulldozer trying to ram right through the door. Meanwhile, I was cycling back and forth between fight, flight, and freeze. Now, I must admit that I was mostly in the fight stage, right? Now, sometimes we say, don't just stand there, do something. So I most definitely was in the do something mode. One of the things I started doing was to move the furniture around. That's right. I started moving furniture. I moved the bed so it wasn't near the window in case the glass blew in, right? And then I moved the dresser and a big wardrobe to block the door in case it decided it wanted to blow in. I mean, I looked for anything that was heavy and tried to shore up my surroundings so I could be safe and secure from the storm. I must have moved furniture for almost an hour. At least